And at 28%, only 28%, Marshall Creed moves out of the top 120 and Will Bennett moves into the top 120. He was sitting at 125. It doesn't take 70%. Imagine the sort of madness that...
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!
Yo, I was hoping I wouldn't have to make another one of these videos. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to make another one of these. But here I am, talking about the quarterfinals for the individuals, trying to think about the teams, hoping this was going to move forward, hoping that if I had to talk about it, it was going to be because CrossFit was doing a good thing. Open up Instagram, laying in bed, and I see that they released a statement talking about workout 3, and it got me all pissed off. Basically giving themselves a way out. They released this message with a whole bunch of hubba. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in college, I had to do an internship, all right? It was at a CrossFit gym. The name was CrossFit Thor. Ironically enough, CrossFit Thor, right? And I was one of 4 people who went into the office the day of the internship. The 3 other people who were with me, I knew them from the classes. I mean, you typically just kind of hang out with the same people all the time, right? And I knew that they all had better resumes than me. They did more extracurricular work. I just wrestled. They had better grades than me, volunteered more than me. And I'll let you know that I was the one that the guy chose to keep for his internship. One of the 4. Why was that? It's because a couple of those people showed up late, a couple of those people left early. I wanted to show up a little bit early so I could learn how to do the stuff. This is back in 2013. I knew nothing. I go, okay, this guy wants me to teach his clients how to do these things. I got to make sure that I know how to do these things first so that I can help these people. And then I would stay after so I could watch the guy who owned the gym run classes so I could pick up on the tidbits and the ins and outs of how he did it. Fast forward 1 month, and he got rid of the 3 other people and he brought me on full-time intern. And it was in that moment that I learned that trying to throw your accolades around and trying to sound super fancy doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
And it was from that point forward that when I started to hear people trying to sound smarter than they actually are, in situations when their tail's caught between their legs and maybe they're a bit uncomfortable, it made me see through those situations really quick. And it all happened in that one moment. So when I'm laying in bed and I open up my Instagram and I start reading through what CrossFit had to say about workout number 3, I got a really, really bad sense that they're trying to sound smarter than us so they can try to put us into our position. A word that keeps on coming up in their documents is the word erroneous. And really the best part about living in the time that we live in is we can just Google words if we don't know what they mean. So I looked up the word erroneous. It means wrong or incorrect. I remember a time where there was an individual who didn't follow anybody on his Instagram, who if he had to address a subject, he would just go live. He'd be walking around on his freaking ranch and he would say things like, yeah, we didn't take out the wrong scores because we didn't want to and it didn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because we were looking for the best people on earth, the fittest people on earth. And we don't care about the people in 120. And that pissed a lot of people off, but at least there was truth and decency to what he was saying. This time around, they're throwing around the word erroneous. They're having the morning chalk up do a broadcast on it. And then there's people like me in my garage making videos on it because there's so much speculation left. Like, what are they trying to say by this? I clearly laid out to them, there doesn't have to be 70% erroneous scores in order for these people to be able to get into the top 120. Actually, on the contrary, I told you I went through 500. I picked out on the male side in North America in my last video, I picked out 141 scores that looked erroneous. I told you that I used deductive reasoning, which I suppose, yeah, Andrew, you're trying to look like a smarty pants now. I don't think so. I learned that word in the 8th grade. But 141 out of 500 is 28%. So I found that 28% of the scores on workout 3 being out of place had a huge impact on the leaderboard. I'll pull up my little chart again, and on my little chart, you'll see that just 28% of the numbers being wrong on workout number 3 allows 4 people to shift into the top 120 that weren't in the top 120. And CrossFit's making claims now that it's unlikely. At 70%, they're saying at 70% it's unlikely, but I'm saying at 28%, I can take the person who's sitting in 1/10 currently, and that person goes out. Marshall Creed at 1/10, you're out. And again, nothing against Marshall Creed. He's a statistic on the piece of paper. He's a statistic with a very good workout number 3. And when Will Bennett, who has a very bad workout number 3, there's a lot of scores between those two. And at 28%, only 28%, Marshall Creed moves out of the top 120 and Will Bennett moves into the top 120. He was sitting at 125. It doesn't take 70%. If there was 70%, imagine the sort of madness.
This is madness.
Madness, madness, madness. This is Sparta!
would be happening on the leaderboard. There'd be people moving up and down and everywhere. I don't know who's doing stats over there, but the people doing stats over there, they're not freaking half as smart as Brian Friend. And I don't know if I'm out of control here, but I was making that last video, right? I put all the numbers together and I'm sitting here and I go, okay, I know I'm pretty good at numbers. And then I put up the video and I'm just sitting there patiently and I go, okay, somebody unfuck me. Like, somebody tell me that I did something wrong. And everyone's like, good job, look at how good you did. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, I'm really waiting. I'm sitting here, I'm sitting in my freaking computer, I'm sitting on my phone, I'm checking it all day, and I didn't get one comment that said that my math was wrong. So that's 3 for 3 on videos where I'm making math related things and they're all right. Not one bad comment. Maybe people like saying that the idea was stupid, but the math was still right. So here is pure math saying that 28% of people is going to shift 4 people in and 4 people out from 110th on the leaderboard through 125th. And CrossFit is trying to say that even if there was upwards of 70% of the freaking people wrong, it's not going to have any sort of impact on 119 and 120. It's not going to happen. And they're using words like erroneous. And there's going to be people who sit on their phones and go, okay, they said erroneous, so we're going to listen to them because they're CrossFit. Now you tell me, what does that sound like to you? It doesn't sound right. It sounds like they're caught with their tail between their legs, and they're one of the 3 interns I talked about earlier, and they're trying to show how smart they are. I made a freaking 12-minute video, not trying to show you how smart I am, but I'm trying to show you each and every single step that I used to get to where I got, so that when somebody like this is trying to say you need 70% of the numbers, that you can see right through it. Because when you know what it looks like, clear and concise, you look at it and say, that's not right. 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? They're trying to ask you what 496 divided by 12 is, and then you're sitting there. And they hope that you sit there long enough that you're just going to forget about the question. Like, I don't care what that is. Like, why do I care what that number is? And they're really hoping that the team quarterfinals roll around. And they're hoping the team quarterfinals roll around so that we completely forget about all this. And like I said, I was hoping I wouldn't have to talk about it. And I was hoping that I would have to talk about it because maybe they did what I was suggesting. Maybe they scrubbed the leaderboard. But it appears that they're just going to put this message out so that it just gets washed under the rug. And you know what? It might just get washed under the rug. But I was listening to the morning chalk-up conversation. What it sounds like what Justin Kotler was saying. It's not giving the athletes this confidence in their statement that they put out. Like, what sort of confidence are you instilling in people like Will Bennett, who isn't going to be able to get into the semifinal, works all year, gets beaten by a bunch of people for not doing the shuttle runs the right way because they rode him at 4, 8, 12, 16 instead of 100 feet and using feet like we always use for handstand walks. Would have been no confusion there. Maybe there would have been, because everyone's going to be confused at some point. But it wouldn't have been at this extent. Maybe if you're going to have a quarterfinal online competition, you prepare for this sort of madness.
This is Sparta!
Maybe you don't have a quarterfinal competition. Maybe you just bring back the in-person competition. Maybe you don't fire the entire team of people who can get the message across to everybody that if you don't care about the people like Will Bennett, you can let the people like Will Bennett know that. If you're going to have people on your team that say something as outrageous as the 70% of submissions need to be erroneous in order for anyone to get in, you got to remember that there's people out here like Brian Friend and myself who are sitting here showing everybody that it's as easy as 28%. And I'm going to make a video, and I can spend as much time. That rower's in the way. It's 11:04 right now. I'm supposed to be sleeping. But I'll sleep when I'm dead. There's vengeance to be had.
I'm vengeance.
They also bring up the fact that they updated the leaderboard. And they also have said a couple times, which I've brought up, that they have finalized the leaderboard. So it's possible that they're going to, continue to do this. And I hope that they continue to do this. And from what it looks like, they added a bunch of scores to that penalties document. I think Brian Friend brought that up, so I went and looked. On the penalties for quarterfinal workouts, you see that there's way more scores in there. On workout number 3 in North America, I saw 27 total scores. Some of which were for the wrong rope height, some of which for the wrong time, some of which for not doing all the shuttle runs. They adjusted the scores, but it looks like they did that before they finalized the leaderboard. So they still aren't changing things. That is with the exception of the 2 people that I brought up really hard in my video, which were Brian Sanchez and Alex Soroka. Their scores are out. And you can tell that their scores are out because the time I made my video, which was yesterday evening, which was the day after they finalized the leaderboard, everyone's scores were set. I can go onto my document and I can see that Marshall Creed had a total point total of 1202. It's still 1202, and it should be because he finished second. If Ryan Sanchez was in third and Alex Soroka was in 20th, then Marshall Creed wasn't affected, so he would remain at 1202. However, everybody else in my document, their total points on the leaderboard went down by 2. So while they're saying in this that they adjusted the scorings For workout number 3, all they're saying is they took out 2 people that I brought up, and it was just clear as day that they shouldn't have been what they were. I think they're watching my videos. I think we're doing something here. There's no such thing as coincidence, right? They're watching my videos. Alex Soroka did half of them, I said it. Brian Sanchez did half of them, I said it. And you know what? Their scores are changed up to show that. And you can see that when you look at people like Tucker McLemore, who had a total points of 1229, now he's at 1227. You look at Will Bennett, who was at 1323, now he's at 1321. They only took out 2 people. So all of the adjustments that they're talking about, they made before. It also kind of appears as if they took into account the kilogram change on the barbell. So everyone's scores were adjusted on workout number 4 for the kilogram change. So when I made the video about everybody is cheating, you know, they weren't cheating, they just didn't know, because it's some weird rule that CrossFit just decided to randomly implement on one workout, being the, all of a sudden the 45-pound bar that we've always used weighs 44 pounds because kilograms. But don't worry, on the other workouts which involved a barbell, that bar still weighs 45 pounds. It's only when you're doing the weightlifting event that bar weighs 44 pounds, or 33 in the case of the females. So by the looks of it, they're going to go through every 30-minute video and they're going to check every barbell and make sure that every barbell is the right weight, and they're going to make all the adjustments, but they're not going to go on to workout number 3 and make sure that they do all the shuttle runs right. So far, that's what we're gathering from all of this. They're not going to fix the shuttle runs, and if they're going to do that to the barbell, they're not going to do it to workout number 3. We might as well bring up Annika Greer again and say, you're not going to put her score in when it was a technical issue, clearly showing that she's done it. I made a video showing that she clearly has a bunch of evidence that she's done it. Put her into the last chance qualifier. Deny her submission into semifinals, yes. Put her into the last chance qualifier. Possibly an option. Just something to think about. Just out of control, guys. And usually when I end these videos, I want to end it with a solution. But sadly enough, I don't have a solution this time. I think the solution is they have somebody, possibly a CEO, probably not even a CEO. He used to be the director of the CrossFit Games. And that's Justin Berg. Why isn't Justin Berg talking about any of this? What's he up to? Adrian Bosman, who's programming for the CrossFit Games, and the head judge, who really I don't think should be doing the 2 things at the same time. Why isn't he saying anything? And I've already said it, but why is the Morning Chalk Up needing a report on this? They are sent some information, and now Brian Friend has to speculate on it. Brian Friend's the fucking man, but why does he have to speculate on just a couple of words put on a piece of paper like I can do here? He's got to know a little bit more, doesn't he? I don't have a solution. I just had a lot of things to say. Time to get editing on this thing so I can get to sleep, hopefully before freaking 1 a.m. Got something good for you tomorrow morning, though, along with this one whenever I end up posting it, and Riller out.